Welcome to the Printwiser MIS introductory demo presentation. In this video, we'll cover the basics of Printwiser and how the modules interact. Shall we begin? When Printwiser starts, you'll get the security door or login screen. You have to pass through the door by unlocking it with your key. There are two types of users: supervisors, whose keys will unlock all available features, and non-supervisors that have restricted access. So I'll use the supervisor key to log in now. Now, when I log in, it takes me straight to estimating. Okay, Printwiser is a lot more than estimating now. So let me go out and explain why that happened. This is the system screen. This is actually the first screen that comes up when you log into Printwiser before any other module is displayed. Now every Printwiser screen has a toolbar and a menu bar. The toolbar will contain most commonly used options from the menu. So here on the system screen, the toolbar begins with the modules, the four modules: estimating, inventory, planning, and work in progress. Whichever modules are available, you'll be able to click on them. Any module that is not available will be disabled. Most clients, most users usually start with the estimating module and later on upgrade by activating additional modules. But some clients also start with all the modules in place at the same time. Now, next to the modules, we have passwords, which is the option for you to change the password. Then log out, for you to temporarily log out in case you are going on a break. And when you are logged out that way, things will be disabled until you log back in. On the system menu, we have the modules and exits. The option menu has password for you to change the password, and auto load module. So auto load module is where you specify the module that actually comes up automatically after you log in. So it could be inventory, planning, work in progress, or none. If you select none, then the no module will come up and the system menu will be displayed when you log in. To menu has the login and logout, and also the users. Users is where the people that will be using the application are set up. User ID, your names, whether they are supervisors or not, if they are report viewers or not, if they can print out documents, and then the modules they can access if they are not supervisors. To add a new user, you click on add row and fill in the row and then update. Each new user will have a default password. The default password is the same for every newly added person, and the new user will need to change it after logging in with the default password. Okay, also on the tool menu, you have the audit trail, which is an optional feature that let the system record activities by users. So the audit trail can be viewed and queried to see what people have been doing from time to time. The next two menu, we've got help for accessing the online documentation at any time. So that wraps up the system menu. Next, we'll go into estimating and talk about the available features of the estimating and the other modules. We are now going to look at the key features of each of the modules, beginning with the estimating module. Now this is the estimating screen once again. The toolbar has got quotation, schedule, estimate for data entry, order for job order entry, material for material and labeled entry, quotation request report, estimate report, PEF, quotation letter, cover letter, security, report manager, and calculator. Now, one of the key features of the estimating module is the ability to record customer quote requests. This is this first item on the toolbar. The quote requests are what clients request for, so people in sales can use this facility to record what clients have asked for. This is an example of the form for data entry. You see the details of the customer are recorded along with the specification for the job and details for the job. Once the quotation request has been done, then the estimators can start their work of producing the estimate for the job. There is a report that goes with this, which is the quotation request report, so that can be generated on a regular basis. The next key feature of the estimating module, the ability to enter customer job specifications. Okay, we've seen that on the quotation request form. It also happens on the estimate entry form. Now this is what a blank estimate entry form looks like. Okay, it's got customer for specifying which customer requested for the job, and then the details of the job, the size, quotations of the size of the job, number of pages, and the quantities required, standard additions to be costed for, and so on and so forth. And later on there are windows for specifying the customer name and address, and boundary details and other items for the job. So once the estimate is entered, it goes with the customer job specifications. It also comes out in report form with the specifications, so that it will be easy to understand what the customer wants. Another key feature of estimating is the ability to produce estimates for up to 6 quantities, 6 markups, and other charges. So here again, this is the estimate list where all estimates are recorded. Let me call up all the details. Okay, so here we got all the estimate number, the estimate title, customer name, and so on and so forth. Now if you take one of these and open up the form, you'll see quantity. You can put up to 6 quantities here. Then you can put the various standard additions or markups you want to see. So it will calculate for each of those quantities and for each of those markups and show the unit price so that you can determine the best price to give to the customer. Let me click this. And this is another sample. Okay, this one has got 5 quantities specified, markups of 50%, 40%, 30%, and so on. And then other charges: VAT, calculation of VAT, sales commission, special duty, agency commission, excise duty. So these are all calculated and shown on the estimate working sheet report. Okay, another key feature of estimating, it calculates quantities for paper, ink, materials, and labor. So once we put in the data required, we click on the calculate button and it goes on to calculate the quantities using standard built-in formula for ink, for paper, tonnage or paper sheets, finishing operations, finishing materials, and so on and so forth. So all these calculations go on within the blink of an eye. What usually takes an estimator several minutes or hours to do. And how these calculations are done is well documented in Printwiser. If we go to help, we go to estimating, we go to calculations, and then we'll see these calculations. There are several categories. If you look at book text sheet calculations, okay, so here we are, estimating calculation book text sheet, and then you see all the formula used for that category of jobs. You see plates, how plates are calculated, sheets, how sheets are calculated, how machine running is calculated, ink, standard ink calculation applies, so that has got its own formula. So all these calculations are documented, and it is also possible to customize any of these calculations to suit your purpose. So if something is calculated in a way that is not applicable for you, one good thing about Printwiser is that we can customize the calculations for you at any point in time. Another key feature of a Printwiser estimating, it maintains cost tables for materials, labor, and press. So when you get Printwiser installed, one of the first things that will need to be done is to set up your materials, labor, and press cost rates. Now how that is done is to go here, material and labor table. This is where the material and labor rates are. Let me do a query for labor items. Now here we have several labor items, and they'll have 4 different rates: normal rate, price 2, price 3, price 4. Now one thing about Printwiser estimating is the option of 4 different prices. So if you have several groups of clients, you could use one set of pricing for one group, use another for another group. But of course, that is also optional. You can maintain the same pricing for all your clients. So for example, let me go into one of these forms. Bulletin. Okay, here costing unit is hour, so this is going to be costed by the hour. And then here are the rates. You can specify the rates. Then also this list also covers materials. Let me query for non-labor. Okay, and here we got paper, cartons, ink, all sorts of materials required for print production. So this is where the prices are specified. From time to time, you will need to be monitoring the prices in market, and when there are changes, you need to come here and update the changes. So when you do a Printwiser estimate calculation, it will calculate either with the existing rates that were used to create the estimate, or it will ask you if the current rates will be used. So it's up to you to decide which one to do. Okay, so the material list is for finishing materials, operations, so labor and materials. And then the other area where pricing information is specified is here, press machine. So for press machines, you get to specify machine rates, the plate, the cost of the plate, one plate, then plate making hourly charge, and then the impression charge. Because Printwiser has the option to charge estimates by impression or by machine run. That is the press room. So for each press machine you've got, you can also specify up to 4 rates for these 4 items, along with other details of the machines. So here you can, if your machine is not on this list, you can easily add it before starting to use Printwiser. So another key feature of estimating, it produces customer quotations in various formats. So once you put in the estimate data requirements, the specifications, and done the estimate, and produced the estimate working sheets, and decided on a price to give the client, you go to quotation generation, and out comes your quotation letter for the client. So here, quotation format, you pick any of the 3 formats, and then indicate the quotation number, the standard addition you want to give the customer, which will be based on the specific quotation, the specific estimate you entered here. And then we click OK, and here comes our quotation letter that you now print out and send to the customer. So that improves the work of the estimator as far as writing quotation letters go. Here you got the title of the job, the text size, the specifications, the quantities required and their prices, and then finishing materials, terms of payment, other conditions. Now these details are specified in the settings for Printwiser estimating. Settings is a place where you go to adjust some parameters that are used by the software. This particular quotation format is done in can be saved in a format that will be editable using a word processing application. So in case you need to make some manual changes, you can still do that either here or in a word processing software. So if we go to quote and look at another format, let's look at letter format. Okay, now see how the quotation letter is presented in this format. So those are just two examples. Then Printwiser produces cost sheet, production, and other analysis reports. That's one of the big advantages of Printwiser, estimating the ability to produce several analysis reports once you've done an estimate. Now the cost sheet is here, and to produce it, you put the estimate number, the quantity, and the standard addition. Click OK, and then it goes and shows you the estimate cost summary. Here you have the machine and outside costs. Here we have the labor costs, and then they are both combined to give the total cost for the estimate. Now, while this gives out costs for an estimate, another report, which is the PAF, gives the quantities required. So for example, for plate, it will show you how many plates will be required for the job. For ink, how many kilograms of ink, and so on. And then along with the PAF and cost sheet, there are several other reports which are available from the reports menu. You can see them here. And then the estimating module maintains a database of all the data you've entered for easy recall for as many years as you have the software installed on your system. So you can have countless number of estimates, and you can easily search and query them to get out an estimate that is similar to what the client is currently requesting for. And once you can call out an estimate, you can easily make a copy of it and make some changes, and out comes your estimate. So that is in a nutshell is what the Printwiser estimating module is all about. Next, we move on to the next module, which is production planning. We'll go to plan. Here we got the toolbar, job schedule, outstanding resource, materials, the works ticket. One of the key features of planning module is the ability to convert successful estimates to jobs. So when an estimate has been done and a price has been given to the customer and a price has been negotiated and concluded with the customer, we enter the job order details within the estimate module, and if the planning is available, that estimate gets converted to a job right away. So when we come to planning, we will be able to see the job on our job list, and it will have a title, a status of new. And once we have our job here, we can now process the job, schedule the job, do work tickets, and so on. So, converting successful estimated jobs is a key feature. The next key feature is producing and storing and recalling detailed work tickets in A3 or A4 formats. So, for our new job, to process it, we'll go to the job form and make any necessary adjustments. We'll go to press room, review label details, we'll review material details, and once we've done all that, we can easily produce our work tickets by clicking here. Okay, and all we need to do is specify the format, we specify the job, we click OK, and out comes our work ticket, which we then send to the printer. Another key feature is ability to create, press, and finishing job schedules, recompute dates at any time. So schedule report here is what enables us to do just that. There are different formats of schedules: resource job listing, single job. Let's look at job listing. You can do that for a specific customer if you want. Okay, so here is our production schedule. All the jobs that have been scheduled will come out. If you want to get the schedule for a specific job, you do that. Go to schedule again, then pick single job, and pick job we want, and say OK. Okay, that hasn't been done, so we'll pick another job. Schedule report, single job, and then here comes the schedule for the single job. Another key feature of the planning is the ability to maintain servicing schedules. So that has to do with when machines will be serviced, so you can keep a schedule of those servicing dates, and the system will take the servicing schedules into consideration when doing schedules. Resource break. Okay, this is where we specify the servicing and other kinds of breaks. So that is a planning module. Once your estimating module has finished working with an estimate, the planning takes over with processing the job. Now, next module is inventory control. Go to inventory. The key feature of inventory control is it can manage the comprehensive list of company and client stock. So we go to the stock list. You see all the materials that have to do with production as well as consumables and stuff. We open up one of these, we see the form, and here we have own stock, so you can keep track of both company stock as well as client stock. Another key feature of inventory module is it tracks the movement of finished goods. So when jobs have been printed and kept in the store for the client, the movement of the goods can be entered. That is done here, finished master and finished transactions. Another key feature of inventory is the ability to restrict access to stock price information to account staff only. It computes the average monthly consumption for all stock items. So if you come here, you see average monthly consumption. So that will always be updated as transactions are entered and posted. Then it gives you another key feature, it gives you stock reports for below reorder level and other analysis reports. So if you want to know which of your stock are running low, we can get a report. We specify the ranges. You can report on stock only or customer stock. And here comes our list of items below reorder level. So in a similar way, you can generate other reports like stock master report, the history, which is like the stock card. Then audit. Audit is a report of transactions you've entered but not yet posted. So when an item is being issued out for a job, that is indicated on the transaction form. Here is the transaction form. So if an item is being issued for a job, we click on job and then we specify the job number, and then when that item is processed, it gets recorded against job. So in the work in progress model, it will show up as one of the material costs for the job. So that's a rundown of inventory. Finally, we go to work in progress. One of the key features of work in progress is it manages record of materials used on jobs. So like I just mentioned earlier, here material, when you come here you will see all the materials that have been used issued out in the inventory. You can also add additional materials that are not inventory items. You can add them directly here. And another key feature of work in progress, it manages timesheets and automatically logs starting and finishing times. So there are two ways of entering times, either through timesheets or through login. Login means each person working on a job would click on log at the start of the job, and then when the job finishes, the person will come back and log off. Then the system will calculate how much time was taken. And timesheets, or you can timesheets can be entered so against each operation of the job. So once all this time information is there and the material used is there, we can now see what the production of the job has cost us. Okay, another key feature of work in progress is that it allows you to keep track of the movement of various materials such as manuscripts, artwork, and film. So that is down here, Vital Store. These are the various jobs and their customers. If you click on one, you get a list of the sections, the types of materials, artwork, code, photograph, and the quantities. And then here we have the movement of the materials. So if you click on photograph, there is no movement. Click on artwork, you see two movements for artwork. So you can always know how your production materials are moving from place to place. And then the key target, the key objective is produce the cost back report of actual versus estimated values. You see that in the profitability, here it shows just the list of jobs, the date they came in, the values, and their costs so far. And then if you want to go down to the next level, you can pick a particular job like this one and get out the cost back for it. Okay, before we do that, we need to set the printer to landscape. Go cost back. Click on OK, and here comes the cost back report. So here you got the estimated values, actual values, and the variance. And then as jobs are going on, you can always look at the job list or go to the progress, get the progress report, and you will be able to see the status of all the jobs in production. So each job has the last status reported and the date. This will make it easier to inform clients when their jobs, what progress their jobs are at, and when the jobs will be completed. So that's that for work in progress. And that's that for a rundown of the key features of the various modules. What we are going to do next is to do a data walkthrough, starting from estimating to show how things go from one module to another module. For this final section of the video, which is a walkthrough section, we'll go back to estimating. Now we are going to start with an estimate. So we go to estimate lists. Now, when you are doing estimates, there are two ways to go about it. The fastest way is to call up an existing estimate, make a copy of it, and then change the necessary details. And then the slower way is to add a new estimate, fill out a blank form from scratch. So we are going to go the faster route right now. Let's do a query. To do a query, you can either click here or you press Ctrl Q on a list, and then you fill out whatever you want to look for. So I want to look for magazine. And I press Ctrl R for retrieve, and here comes estimates that contain magazine in the title. You can also use any of the other columns for your query. You can use customer name, you can use name of the contact person, you can use category, the job type. So magazine, this is what I'm looking for, so I double click on it to open the form. Okay, and I make a copy of this here, click on copy, and it tells me copying was successful. I click OK. Do I wish to work with the copy? Yes. So here we have a new estimate that has been copied from the other one. The estimate number has been generated for me, and that is also an optional feature. You can either have the system generate numbers automatically, or you can type in the numbers yourselves. So here modify the description, modify the date, then I can modify the customer. There are two types of customers codes that you can use. The general customers lets you specify the actual customer name here. So if you use a general customer, you can put in the actual name of the customer and the address here. Or you could, if it is a regular customer, then you first create a customer record before coming to the estimate. And where you go to do that is here. This is where regular customers are recorded. So once you've recorded the regular customer with a code, later on you'll be able to pick the code from the list here. Okay, the format of the estimate, usually leave that blank. The job type is magazine. Now the calculations in Printwiser are built around job types. So there are various job types, and each job type has its own set of calculations. And if a job type is not on the list, it can be added to the system. and the calculations can also be added to the system. So for this sample estimate, I want to use 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and 5,000 only. I don't need 10,000. Okay, then VAT should be included. VAT rate is now 7.5. And cost price run by hour. There are two options here. It can be either by hour or by impression. So I'll keep it at hour. Now once I'm done making changes here, I update. So update is to save, and I now do my calculations. Click on calculate. Yes, here it's asking recalculate using current rates. So remember we said this is an option for you to either recalculate using the current rates in the market, or you can recalculate using the rates that were saved with the estimate. Okay, so here we go with the current rates. We click on yes, and then it does calculations, and we now have the new figures. Once that is done, the next stage is to produce working sheets, estimate working sheets. We'll do that by coming to estimate reports. Okay, and the estimate number that we worked on last is there. The report format, summary or detail. We click OK. And now this is the summary working sheet, which shows us the specifications for the job, and then down below we have the various quantities and then their cost prices. The total cost for each of those, and then we have 50% markup is added, the sales commission is added, agency commission is added, our VAT is added for a total cost of this, and then the copy per copy cost is this. This first column is for the first quantity, this one is for the next, and this one is for the next. So once it's done with the first standard edition, it now goes on to the next, which is 40%, so down to the end. Our last markup was 20%. So at 20%, the unit price will be this. This is the summary. The breakdown of the summary is the detailed estimate working sheet. So the breakdown gives for text sheet 1 the cost of how many plates we need, 4 plates. Quantity of paper we need, the ink, the running hours. So the details of all that is given for each of the quantities we want. That is at the press room level. And then at the finishing stage, all the finishing operations and materials, their rates, quantities, and the amounts. Now, if you want to know how these calculations are done, like we said earlier on, you can go to help and review, check out the calculations there. Okay, now the next stage, you can also generate other reports. Once the estimate has been done, you can generate other reports like the supplementary sheet, which we specify the which standard addition we want to use, whether we want to charge labor, material, or both. And you click OK, and here comes the supplementary sheet. So this is another kind of summary that gives the prices in prices at a glance. So for 2,000 copies, 205,480. For 3,000 copies, it gives you the price for the total price and the unit price. Now, once you've decided on the price to give the customer, next thing is to generate the quotation. So here we select the markup we decided on, and then we go to OK. Quotation comes out, and we send this to the customer. Now, let's assume the customer has accepted the price for 5,000 copies. What we do next is to record the customer order. So here we add form, we specify the estimate number, we don't need you don't remember the number, you can look it up. Let's go back here. O2 LPO details. date of the date of the LPO, the quantity, and the amount. Let me check what amount we quoted. Okay, and then I update. Now notice it's giving it a job number 0001/21, and then I close. Then before we move on, we can do other reports, like we can do the cost sheet for the report to know the various costs. Now the the quotation has been sent, the customer has approved, and we have recorded our order. Next, we go to planning. In planning, we open up our job list, and here at the very top is the job that has been created for our estimate when the customer gave the approval and we entered the job order. So in planning, we now process the job, we open it up, our status is new. Now we can write in the pre-press instructions, patching instructions. Here we see the finishing instruction from what was in the estimate, the kind of binding to be done, the kind of update, the kind of folding to be done, delivery instructions if any. So we fill in all these details and blah 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 blah, and we update, and then we go to the press room. Okay, press room, then we fill in any details or revise any necessary details for the press room. Here we have the quantity of ink required, the paper to be used, the press to be used. At this point, you can adjust some things, and the kind of running to be done, press room instructions, you can put that here again. So once everything is in order, we update it and close Then we go to review label details. Here what we want to do is to specify the resource. Any resource that is blank, we need to specify it. So glossing test sheet 1, we need to specify which resource will be used for that. So for folding, I need to specify, and for stitching, then we say OK, and then we need to review material details. So here, these are the materials that have been estimated for the job. Their status is saying unchecked. When we click OK, it will go through and actually check the inventory. Now it's saying there is 0 unit of this available, 0k to continue. So at this point we can wait for the material to be available before we continue, or we can proceed anyway. So let's do that. So once that process is done, the status of the job now becomes pending. So from new, it moves to pending. So after pending, you have in progress, completed, or suspended. Now we close that form. So once we've done that, we now go and generate the works ticket. And here is our works ticket. Now it's supposed to be in A4 format. Is showing in 2 pages because we have landscape set up. So if I set up portrait, and then do it again, it should give me a single page of works ticket. Okay, so that's that. Right, now when the works ticket is done, it's distributed, we can now schedule the job. We come right here, these are jobs that have been scheduled, and to schedule our new job, we click on add row, or we do Ctrl A. Okay, now we select the new job and we say OK. So here again you can adjust some things. The starting date, then we update. So updating kicks off the scheduling process. So it goes through the operations and asks us how many machines and whether weekend needs to be scheduled or not. And at the end of that, we can double click and see a quick schedule that has been done. Then we can generate schedule report. First, let me generate single job. So that's the single job. Then let me generate a resource. Prepared by me, approved by me. Okay, so here is my Speedmaster schedule for the job. And that pretty much covers what we do in planning, processing the job, works ticket, scheduling, other things include resource breaks, servicing schedules, specifying holidays, and so on. So continue work on the job. We move on to inventory. In inventory, we are going to look at how many plain cartons we have. So I'll do a query and use plain. So plain carton, we have 909 quantities. Then let me check for plates. Okay, plates, we got 3998 sheets. Now I'll issue plates and cartons for the job. So I'll come here, add. These are the types. JRN is for goods received note, maintenance issue note, material requisitions, returns, credit note, debit note. So I'll do a requisition for our job. It is the job, so I put in the job 0001. Then I put in the stock code for carton. Now I'm doing a test, so I'll just put in one quantity. If you don't know the stock code, you can look it up. Plates. Okay. Then I update and I close. Now after all transactions have been entered, then they are posted. So tell me one transaction was posted. Okay, so now look at the plate. The quantity on hand has gone down, and similarly, if we look at carton, the quantity on hand has also gone down. You can do reporting. Let me look at the stock history, which is the stock card for carton. So this is the stock history at this date. So items, quantity one item at this date, another item went out, blah blah blah. So that's that for inventory. Now we move on in our journey to the next module, which is the last one, work in progress. On our job progress list, you can see our new job at the top. Now when we look at our material usage list, at the very top we now see the two items that were issued in inventory, that is the plain carton and the plate. So these two items in inventory were issued out and now reflecting here as what has been used on the job. Now we want to put in a sample timesheet. Add the person who did the work, the job, the task, then from what time to what time, and then we update. So it gives us the minutes. Now on our job progress list, the last activity for our job is now indicated as machine make ready, which is the last task that I've entered on the timesheet. Now when we look at our progress report, We now see our job and the current status. So, what is the job costing us so far? Again, we set our printer to landscape, click OK, and then we do our cost back. And here on our cost back, we see that Machine Make Ready has an actual figure and also for materials, plate and carton have actual figures. So we can see the total estimated and total actual and the difference. So that wraps up the Printwiser MIS demo overview presentation. You have seen how the various modules work and share information, from estimating where job production cost is determined to the actual production in planning and work in progress modules with support from inventory. If you have specific questions, please feel free to email us. There are a lot more to Printwiser than what has been shown. They will be covered in detail during after sales user training and support. Thanks for your time.